Hello, family. Welcome back to Concrete Pastures. I am Nancy Blemoisisi. For anybody who is new, this is a platform where we highlight immigrants who have relocated to different countries in search of greener pastures. We share our stories of various experiences and lessons we've learned along the way and offer new perspectives on our journey as immigrants. So whether you are a current immigrant, a soon or later to be immigrant, or just curious, come along with us on this journey and let's get a better understanding of what it really means to be an immigrant. Subscribe, like, and share. I am super excited. This has been a long time in the making. Our guest today is a podcaster, my fellow podcaster, special events MC, aspiring social entrepreneur. Guys, oh my God, I'm so inspired by this woman. Her name is Agnes Appiah. She is a multidisciplinary creative and entrepreneur. She is an outstanding MC, voiceover artist, and spoken word artist. She hosts the Umami Conversations podcast and recently co-authored the book 55 Faces to raise awareness for women's role in social change and impact. Despite spending her first few decades in fear, she now uses her life experiences as a messenger, I would say, for hope and triumph. And this is what we're actually going to get into a lot more. Welcome, sister. Welcome, Agnes.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Nancy. This is exactly as you said. It's been a long time in the making, and I'm super glad that I'm able to be here with you and all of you beautiful listeners. Thanks for having me.
No, I'm
Thank you.
excited to have you. It's such an
Thank you.
honor because we've been planning, things come
Yeah.
up, and it's just at the right time now. It's finally happening for both
Mm,
of us. And
yeah.
yes, you are originally from Ghana. We like to start
Yes.
from home, but for
Mhm.
you, you are in Canada and you migrated to Canada at the really young age, 3, 4 years.
Yep.
Oh my
I was
goodness.
basically 3.5, I would say, because we came here. I came with my mother
Mm-hmm.
at the age of 3.5 in July 1987.
Got it.
So my father was already in Canada. And anyways, back in the days, they had ways,
Yes, no.
connections.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah, they had like these connections, and
Uh-huh.
through those connections, my mother and I landed here as refugees,
Wow.
actually. Yeah.
No, I was surprised when I saw that in your bio. What
Mhm.
was going on? Because it's Ghana and a lot of us are not aware.
So I have no idea.
Yeah,
Sadly, I don't have a recollection of how it felt, what was going on.
yeah.
All I remember was that they gave me this name and they told me, this is your name.
Mm,
So anywhere you go, this
this is
is your name.
your name. Oh my God.
That's like all I remember from that whole until today. you
Oh,
know? And that name is part of me, it's part of my immigration story,
yeah.
and that landed me here in 1987.
Wow. I
Yeah.
mean, a lot of us, and a lot of listeners around the world, they leave the country at the time where they're older, a lot, the majority. And
Yeah.
we get to experience the whole journey and we get to experience the good parts and the bad parts of it. But in your case, since you were so young, and now to see you right now, um, how has that impacted you, like in terms of identity, in finding yourself?
Oh, wow. That's a big question.
Sorry to be loaded.
Because I think it's something that has been unfolding for myself. Growing up, although yes, we were living in Canada, one of the things that I recognize is in my household, my parents groomed us as Ghanaian children.
Mm-hmm.
right? So I think in the beginning, all I knew was me being Ghanaian. I didn't know anything else. And then after you grow up, you meet other people. You're trying to, in high school, you're trying to find out who you are. So for a minute, I was Jamaican.
Oh,
Okay. For a split second, I was Jamaican. I identified more with Jamaican people. My best friend at that time, as a elementary teenager, was Jamaican. All my friends were Caribbean. So like I was like,
wow.
okay. To the point where my sister, I started like sounding like literally like a Jamaican. I would speak English, but it would be patois that would be coming out of my mouth. Like that was how much I was integrated in that culture,
Wow.
right? And then as I entered into my adulthood, I started to embrace, like I always had the Ghanaian aspect of me. That part never did. Like for instance, my friends will come home and it's like we're eating either African food or
Yeah.
the other stuff, right? Or yeah. So that part of me, I think it was always there in like home,
In
but
your
then when I
house.
stepped out, it was like a different world.
Yeah.
Right? But as I was going back, as I was saying, in my adulthood, I actually started going to a Ghanaian church. And I feel like that also kind of solidified that Ghanaianness in me.
Mm, mm, mm.
And it brought me back to like the drums and the music. And there was always music in my household. Like, honestly, my household was pure Ghanaian, okay? It was always like Ghanaian music, but it was just like now it was more of in a community again,
Yeah.
right? Because when I was younger, it was in a community, then for some reason we were disconnected. And then I went back into that state of community and it solidified itself as I'm a Ghanaian. This is who I identify as. But
Ah.
now, I'm telling you, it's something that has unfolded. Now, I would say, I don't know if it's going to change. I would literally say that I am a Ghanaian Canadian and I am embracing that Canadian part of me. Um, for some strange reason,
Mm-hmm.
which I haven't been able to really understand yet, I started the process with my therapist a few months ago, but we never dived in deeper. I never really considered like the Canadian part of me, Canadian history. I don't know. I never really related to that part, although I've lived here basically like 30 plus years
Oh, wow.
until recently. Um, a friend of mine brought that up. She's like, we're Afro-Canadians. Like, we have a story, we're African women living in Canada, and there's a history behind who we are, behind our identity. Because when we go back home, we're not African enough. But then when we're here, we're not Canadian enough. So it's just like, then who are we? Right? And I think I'm in a stage where I comfortably know that I am as much Ghanaian as I am Canadian, regardless. Whether I sound Ghanaian or not, whether my tree is crooked or not, I'm
Wow.
Ghanaian. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
then Canada, I've lived here basically my whole life. I have a
Yes,
story.
for
I have
sure.
history here.
Yeah.
So yeah, so this is where we're at.
Okay.
I don't know what's gonna happen in the next couple of years, but this is where I've, I've the evolution of my identity, I would say, has brought me.
It's interesting because everybody I talk to that I think was brought there by their parents young, they have issues with identifying with the country where they were born in and identify with the hosting country. And it's just a struggle. And then I wanted to hear your perspective on what your journey was like or still is like for you. And there's really an eye-opening for all of us. I think for me, I'm like, wow.
Mhm.
I would think it'd be easy. I'm like, I'm Canadian,
Mhm.
but it's not
Mhm.
that
Mhm.
way.
Mhm. Mhm. No, it's really not. And I think it's also because coming here, I feel like our parents didn't want us to lose that sense of identity of who we were as Africans,
Yes,
right? So as much as some of their actions were very harmful, and now we call it toxic.
yes,
Now
yes,
we have names for it,
yes,
toxic mental health and all of that stuff.
yes,
Um, they, and this is just my perspective from my own observation. A lot of our parents that came here, some of them they really didn't want to depart from Ghana. It's like they just came here. It's like, oh, we're coming here to hustle to make the money to go back. But
yes.
then 30 years down the line, you're still here hustling, trying to make the money to go back.
It's funny you say that. I spoke to Pasa Pasa, the host of Pasa Pasa,
Okay.
Miss Kimi, my
Mm,
mama.
mm,
She mentioned the same thing when I had a conversation with her,
mm-hmm,
that we as immigrants, we are still um we're almost like visiting even 30 years later.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Like
That's
when
it.
do you like settle in as like, okay, I live here now. My roots are kind of here now too.
Yeah,
But how
yeah.
have you been able to marry the two together?
Honestly, for me, I think it's a question of acceptance.
Mm,
And it's also it's growth. We as individuals, we need to grow. Like if you don't grow, then what happens? You deplete, you die, you vanish.
yeah,
Um, so I think the more that I grow, and because those aspects of me are important, because some people, honestly, I feel like there's some people you meet and they're just like, I don't care. Like I'm Canadian. I don't care what but for me,
yeah.
it's just like it's weird to say, but I feel like I still have like a duty. I don't know. It's like the weirdest thing.
I
I
understand
still
what you're
have like
saying.
a duty
Yeah,
to my roots, which is because I was born there. It's not like I was born here. I was born in the motherland. So it's like I know without a shadow of a doubt that is part of who I am. And I just accept it. So I think it's really a matter of when you grow as an individual, and if those parts of you are important, then you learn how to accept all the parts of you, right? Whether you're, you know, whether maybe, let's say if you're in Ghana and it was like a traumatic situation that led you here, and
mm,
you don't want to be considered a Ghanaian, that's your acceptance, that's your truth, and that's absolutely fine.
yeah,
But for me, it was like whether it was traumatic or not, I accept that. And in Canada, as I said, it just recently hit me that okay, yeah, I'm also, you could write my name down in the history of Canada and be like, she's a pioneer of, the Ghanaian community at the
yes,
age of 3.5. You know what I'm saying? Like you
yes,
could write down my name. You could literally do, because when we came out here, I was among this, like there's like a little group of us. We're like a few young kids. It was always us.
yeah,
So it's like, yeah, yeah, I got a story here too. Me, like Canadian too. I got a citizenship card too.
yeah. No,
So it's just when you get to I think you just get to a place where you accept and you move on and you live with the criticisms and the racisms
yes, the
and all of it.
ins,
The M's.
the ins. Oh
Yeah.
my God. I mean, you are known for you actually call yourself as the messenger. I would like for you to explain to us what that means exactly.
I don't even know. Honestly, I don't know what it means. But one thing that I recognize is that my life, I've gained wisdom through the events that has happened in my life.
Mm-hmm.
And there's so much more, more wisdom, more to learn.
Yes.
And I think I just aim to just live like everyone else, but just be like an example that, you know what, it could be tough, but we still out here. There's so much more to live for. It's challenging, it's painful sometimes, but if I'm here, you could be here too.
Yeah.
So I think that's what, I guess, the messenger. I think we're all messengers in our own unique ways,
I agree.
right?
I agree.
And
And
like, you're a messenger too, Nancy. You know what I
yes.
mean?
No, I completely
Yeah.
agree. I think I did say this on one interview I had with Pan Africa Radio,
Mm,
and they asked me about concrete pastures, and I mentioned to them like the main purpose of it is because we do experience life at different times. Same things, but at different times in our lives. So, from your experiences that you've had before someone else experiences it, you already experienced it for them. So, in this way, they can learn from you when you are sharing your story, when you are a messenger, and they're able to learn from that. So it's exactly that. And when I saw that, I'm like, this is so true. We are all messengers, and when we experience different types of events in our lives, sometimes they're not truly for us; it's for someone else to learn from. And when that happens, it's just you have that obligation
mm,
to go and deliver the message that you are sent to deliver. Talking about messages, there's an event that I want to talk about with you because of how important it is in our community.
right,
Being immigrants, we are so caught up in our hardworking and we don't truly experience life.
right.
I'm guilty of that. And sometimes things happen, we don't
Mm,
really register them. You had a loss of a child in 2019, and there's a lot of people that have experienced that in the diaspora as well, whether it's miscarriage or however it happens. Some people don't really even stop to acknowledge because of how we are on the go. And this is not to diminish on how people deal with loss,
oops, yeah.
but it's just sometimes we are so busy, we don't get to register. Could you just walk us through as to what happened
Mm,
with you?
mm. Ooh, 2019. 2019 was now I see it as a year of shifts
Mm.
for me, because basically I was pregnant. I was pregnant after I guess because I also am dealing with like PCOS. So after a few years of marriage, it's like, okay, is the baby coming? And then, the baby came. Well, the baby came.
How long were you married for?
I mean, it wasn't that long, to be honest with you. We got married in 2016. So it's
Mm.
like 3 years. For me, I think it's like a regular time.
I
But in our
waited 7 years.
society,
So,
yeah, it's like there's no time. I guess maybe because like a lot of times, they look at our age and then they're just like, okay, because I got married like a bit late.
mhm.
Second marriage actually. I got stories for days, but let's go straight to where we're going. Um,
Listen,
but yeah,
this is life.
yeah, this
I'm
is
ready for my
life.
second marriage.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
Yes.
Oh man, this is definitely life.
Mhm.
But yeah, so I think 5 months in the pregnancy, I started to feel like a bit funny. Um how deep do you want me to go into details? Because I could be very detailed, or I could.
It's your story.
Okay. So, on that particular day was somewhere in the month of what month were we in? Probably November. Is that November? No, it was in December. Yeah, it was in December. Um, I think it was ending of November, beginning of December. Sorry, I'm just trying to get the dates. While I wasn't feeling well, went to the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
They checked me and they were just like, oh, it's just Braxton Hicks, I think, or something. So you should be fine. Go back home. I'm like, okay. I came back home an hour in. I go pee and then I'm bleeding. I'm like, okay. They're saying no friggin' Braxton Hicks, guys. So I go back to the hospital. I have my sister that has her like learner's permit.
Mm-hmm.
Drive me to the hospital, and she's just like, I'm like, well, I don't know what's going on. You driving me, like, we're going.
Yeah.
Husband was at work, so we get there, they check me, and then they realize that my cervix was a bit open. Um, so you know how it is. You go, they lay you down, they come and check you in and out. That was super uncomfortable, super. I feel that moment was where things got worse, but yeah, it's too deep. I don't want to go there.
Yeah.
So lo and behold, um, I think I spent how many days at the hospital? I spent probably like 3, 4 days because I live in Quebec and I wanted to be transferred to like the Ontario hospital.
Got it.
Um, and it took like a whole weekend before they transferred me. So when they transferred me, we thought that things were gonna be
Better.
good,
Yeah.
because and then also in the Quebec hospital, there was some like mixed information. They thought I didn't want a baby. It was just a mess. Okay. It
Yeah.
was just a mess. So I'm like so hopeful. I get to the Ontario hospital. Then I to be honest, that part was it's like still very blurry. So it's
Mm.
either I get sick before they check me, or they check me, then I get sick. But something in one or the
One
other
of the two.
happened.
Yeah.
And then I had to have a forced labor. Um because I was like, I think at 22 weeks they couldn't keep the baby. My fever was high, so they're like, it's either both of you are gone,
Yeah.
or we save you and the baby will go, because at 22 weeks they're like, there's nothing we could really do. So then that's what happened, on December 2nd, 2019. Um, I I lost I still call him my firstborn because he's my firstborn.
Yeah.
The baby was healthy. And that like I'm now realizing how much that really changed me as a person. Um, it changed my understanding of life, my understanding of myself, my understanding of, I guess, like the pressures and the duties that sometimes that we put on ourselves as
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
humans, as women,
Mm-hmm.
you know. Um, so yeah, that's a bit of what happened. And it was blurry. It was
So,
very challenging. It was
so how
yeah.
do you think that change the event changed you
I started asking
personally?
questions.
Mm.
I come from a Christian background. And I still consider myself a Christian to some extent. I just have probably a different way of like understanding the whole notion of Christianity.
Yes.
I would consider myself maybe more of a spiritual person. Um, but I still identify with the story of Christ. So let's just put it there. Like, let's
Yeah.
put it like that.
Yeah, listen, nothing
Yeah.
wrong.
Yeah.
We still
So
have one God.
yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
So basically, I started asking like God a lot of questions, like I started already in 2018, actually, I was already, things were already shaking up like in 2018. So,
Yeah.
but then I started asking real questions and being like, okay, like I have been done, tried being the holiest of holiest. Like,
Yeah.
and my name is Agnes. So it's like, not to boost myself or anything like that, but I'm a type of person I'm just pure, okay? And unfortunately, I don't know if it's fortunate or unfortunate. I just always want to do good, be good,
Yeah.
please. So I was a big time people pleaser. So,
Mm.
it was like all of these things that I I thought I did right. I thought that's what
You're
was
supposed to
needed
do.
from me. Yeah.
Yeah.
So why take this precious thing away when like this is what I've been waiting for. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like what like I didn't understand that part. I thought I was cursed. Like I thought so many things. There were so many questions just coming through my mind left and right. And obviously, I went to seek help. I did a little bit of therapy. I had found a psychologist a few months before actually. So I was already dealing with her. And then when this hit, I dived in deeper with her.
Yeah.
And then COVID happened.
Mm.
So when COVID happened, then I was like, oh yeah, I'm cursed. Like, oh yeah, 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 yeah. Like now that I'm almost there, I'm gonna break through. I
Mm-hmm.
don't have access to my psychologist anymore. I don't have like she's like everybody's going mental. Sorry. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, guys. I know COVID was serious, okay, but sometimes I just yeah. But everybody was on a high mental highs, okay? So she was booked. And I remember just one day I was in my shower and I just started crying and insulting God and not liking God at that moment. And then I heard something in my spirit. I heard, why do you think that you need somebody else to heal you? Why are you always going to somebody else? You've never come to me. I was like, at
Yeah.
that time you think you're crazy or something.
Yes.
Like some people will get it, some people won't. But like
No,
literally, I
trust
heard,
me. I get
yeah,
it. I
I
get it.
heard it. And right there, like literally, like as I said, I'm a very spiritual person. So I pay attention to a lot of things that happen around me. And right there, I had this book that I bought 3 years prior that I was scared to read because it said ancestors in it. Like right there, my spirit said, you're going to go and read that book. You're going to sit down and you're going to wait for me. And you're going to cry and you're going to release and you're going to ask those questions.
Mm.
And I did that like it didn't happen right away in December. It took like, a couple of months
Yes.
to get me through it. But that moment, I honestly can't pinpoint when exactly, but that moment when that happened, I was dedicated to be still. And just every morning I'll wake up and I'll just be still. I'll just sit and I'll cry and I'll grieve and I'll experience whatever emotion. Sorry, I'm getting emotional, but I'll experience whatever
Yeah.
emotion that needs to be experienced in that moment. And I'll just go through it. And then I'll come back up and
Yeah.
continue the day. Then one of the other things that was amazing for me in this journey is that along the way, I met a tribe. I met a
Mm.
community. And I always knew that as women, we went through things. Um, I went on a retreat with that community. And my experience there I think changed me drastically even more.
Where did you guys go?
We went to a spot called a city is it a city? Mont Saint Sauveur. It's in Quebec.
Oh, it's in
Mont Saint
Quebec.
Sauveur.
Uh,
Yeah, it's like a little town, maybe, I think. Yeah. And we were in the hills, like in the bush.
nice.
In the bushes, and we were just in community, and we were sharing our stories, and you realize you're not the only one that lost a baby, and this sister lost a baby, and this sister did this, and
Mm,
this sister had an abortion, and this sister had this, and you come full circle, and they call it circles. You come full circle, and you feel like, man, yeah, I'm not alone. Somebody else went through it. They
mm,
might grieve differently, but
yes.
just sometimes just that knowing, and that it gives you like the will to keep going and to keep pushing, you know. I don't know if I like deviated from the initial question. I think I
Oh,
drifted
no, no,
myself
no.
in,
I
but
think because
that
a lot
was
of the
my
times when you
experience.
experience something, you feel alone, especially as immigrants. There's
Yeah,
not everybody's fortunate to have their whole village come
yeah,
with them. And if you're going through a loss, you feel defeated in so many ways.
yeah, do.
And for you to actually have a support system of sisterhood and to find that as to, I'm not the only one. And there's something that it gives to you.
Yeah, yeah. It gives you life, you
Mm,
know. It gives you back life, honestly, because I think that I'm in that like vibration right now. If y'all get it, but the importance of community
mm,
and just connection with one another.
yes.
I think living out here in the north, in North America, sometimes we tend to feel so isolated,
Yep.
and there's this notion of like individualism also here, and we all get caught up. Like, yeah, I get caught up in that. I don't want nobody in my business. Like, yo,
Yeah.
I just want to cuddle in my room in this weather. Who wants to go
I know
outside in
you
this
guys, it's
weather?
so cold in there
Like,
because
it's cold
I'm
out in
like,
these streets.
how,
You know what
how
I
are you
mean?
in Quebec? And I feel cold
Mm,
just saying the name Quebec.
I'm telling you, it sounds so cold. It's cold, but there comes a point where it's like, oh, actually, your sister needs you, your
Mm,
brother needs you, this person in the community needs you, and it's like you forget about all of that comfort, and then you give what you could give. So
yeah.
I'm just really in that. um I just like I see how much community is really essential to our um like just even our emotional stability, you
Yes.
know,
Oh my God.
because sometimes you don't even realize that you're crazy, you're going cuckoo,
Yep.
but someone in your community is going to be like, I think you sure you're okay.
Yes.
Somebody you trust might just be like, you did this way, usually you don't, you sure you're all right,
Yeah.
so yeah, I think that's a definitely a big thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
community.
No, thank you for sharing that.
Mm.
Are you still going to therapy?
No, I took a break. I took a break because I'm doing this other thing that's more of like
Which we're
a
about to
group
get into.
yeah, it's like a group therapy thing. um that's anyway, so I, I was diagnosed with a mental health illness, so with that they have like these group sessions. So I'm
Mm,
just like, okay,
or
let me just go, and like I love understanding different people, different perspectives, so I go there. So I was like, okay, if I'm doing that, I'm not gonna do plus therapy. Like, I think I have a good handle of myself right
yes.
now.
No, no, it's true. As long
Yeah,
as I mean you're
but
doing what you're
yeah,
supposed to do to get your mind together.
yeah, yeah.
to show up for yourself. That's really important.
Yeah,
Oh, no, that's thank you for sharing that. I really wanted to highlight that because you had it in your bio, and
I
I wanted to
did.
highlight that because there's a lot
Thank
that
you.
goes on in our community in the diaspora,
Yeah,
and not everybody has the courage to share. And I
yeah.
know that you are the MC, you do share, you have that platform. And when we are in this space as a messenger, I just wanted to highlight that for someone to, to take away. What advice would you give someone, let's say they're going through it, they have just lost a child? I can't even imagine.
I don't think there's anything that I could actually say that would ever change anything that that person is feeling,
Hmm.
because when you're in that space, I'll give you an example, okay? One of my girls, one of my girls came to see me. She
Hmm.
was in another city.
Hmm.
She had a little baby. She drove all the way to the city to come here to see me. She did a manicure, pedicure thing for me.
Hmm.
But I was so numb. I was so numb. Like I couldn't even grasp why she was there. You know, I was like,
Yeah,
what's going on? I was just there. You know, I was just there. So sometimes it's really hard. Like when people ask that question, like what kind of advice could you give?
someone, yeah,
But then honestly, what I could say is to like, don't sink. Don't let that situation sink you that deep,
mm,
because and it sucks to say these words, I think, but they say that it's in every lesson there's a blessing.
yep,
Me as an individual, as Agnes, that's how I look at my life. What did I learn from this situation? What did it help me do or not do? Where do I want to go from here?
mm,
Right? So we need to ask ourselves questions. What do you want? Do you want to stay in that state? If you want to stay in that state, no matter what anybody says, then there's there's nothing that could change it. But if you don't want to be in that state and you want to be somewhere else in a better state, maybe letting go, then you do the work to get there. Um, but it's just allowing yourself to just sink deep in the grief continuously for a long time sometimes could be more harmful
mm,
um to you. Like I'm all about go through the emotions, like you have to go through the emotions, right? Emotions are like, they say it's energy in motion. So
yes,
let the emotion come through, but let it come through out. Let it come through and out.
mm,
And maybe one day you like, when was it? So I threw my ashes, because we had him in
we
ashes,
made it.
the baby, in November 8th.
Mm,
Every November 8th, I remember that day. December 2nd was the day that I lost my child. Every December 2nd, I remember that day.
mm,
And sometimes I will get caught up in the emotions of it, and I let myself, I breathe through it. And then after I try and I do all that I can to stay grateful for where I am right now. And like now that I'm thinking and I'm talking, it's like, oh, this kind of sounds like a cliche, like it's too good to be true type of thing.
mm,
But that's literally like how it is. It all comes and sums up to you, the individual. Where do you want to see yourself next? I didn't want to be in that pain anymore. Like I couldn't bear the pain anymore after a while. It was just like I was literally going nuts.
yeah,
I couldn't bear it. So when I wasn't able to bear it, whatever that was there to help me, good, whatever that's there, that's good for the body, the mind, the soul. Okay.
Yeah.
Because there's other things that people use to help. Like we all have done it, but
Yeah.
if it elevates you, elevates your frequency, um, then yeah, do the work, no matter how long it takes. So just don't sink. Yeah. All this to say, don't sink. Yeah.
How has that I guess contributed to your relationship with your husband?
Ooh, that's a big one, eh?
Sorry.
Because no, it's fine. It's fine. He knows. He's like, yeah, you're the conversationalist. So just go do your thing, like he knows me. Um, I think I went through it the way that I went through it,
Mm-hmm.
but he didn't go through it until probably now.
Mm,
So now that I'm like,
yeah.
in my feminine energy,
Yes.
the vibrating. I think now it's slowly like sinking in. Like, damn, we went through a whole lot of things. Like, yes, brother. You
Yeah.
know. Um, but I feel it's like the thing with my husband and I is that we're like friends. We're friends. Like we're just friends. We joke around. We play around. And I think that I feel like he didn't really understand how intense the pain that I was going through was.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he grasped it, but he was he was there the way that he knew how to be there in that moment. Um, we've seen stories where literally these things split couples up,
That's the
right?
reason why I asked.
Yeah. But I think with us, one of the things that really helped us is one, our friendship,
Mm-hmm.
because I didn't necessarily like him. Like I didn't necessarily want to be around him, but like this, he makes a joke and it's just like, okay, like you're so annoying. It's just we had this relationship that we've built and
Yeah.
we've somewhat solidified. And I think that is one of the things that pulled us through and actually like just maybe also the person that we are. Like, because marriage, man, shoot. It's like there's always something that's trying to break you apart. It's crazy. Like sometimes I'm just like, is that what this marriage thing is all about? Like, if it's not one thing, it's gonna be another thing. If it's not this thing, and then that's both of y'all. It's either both of
Preach.
y'all decide to like
Preach.
we go.
I'm out.
Yeah. So it just is like, okay, I'm done. Like goodbye. Like I can't, And I'm just
Yeah.
like, man.
Go.
But there's this thing they say it's called love, I think, and I think that's what they say it's called. Or like, I don't know, that thing.
That
And
thing, right?
yeah.
That thing called love that
Yeah.
forces you to show up even when you don't feel like it. Yeah. Oh no, I'm glad. Thank you so much for being open and sharing your story, you guys. And wow,
Yeah.
wow.
Thank
Um,
you.
you
Yeah.
are part of 55 Faces. You have authored 55
Yeah.
Faces. Do you
Yes.
mind
Yes.
just sharing for anybody who's not familiar with 55 Faces?
Yes. So 55 Faces basically is a global platform for women. It's created by Michelle Gardner.
Yeah.
It's part of like her I guess her creation, her foundation, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's there's because there's different parts of 55,
Yeah.
but the one of the big parts that I took part in is writing, sharing my story, but but through answering three major questions. I think what Michelle is trying to create with this book 55 global. Right now we're doing 55 global and 55 Africa.
Yes.
That's what we're working on this season, and it's been very interesting. Been super interesting. I think what Michelle is trying to create is really to bring forth like awareness, one, to humanity, that as women, one, we have a story, and our stories could literally create a shift and a move in this world, right? And our stories are so unique and different, but then at the same time,
Yeah.
it's the same, you
Yeah.
know? And
Mhm.
and she's just trying to like turn the whole world into 55. Okay, well, that's what I say. Okay.
Well,
Whole world
I mean,
sharing their stories.
when I spoke to her, I think it's brilliant.
Yeah.
And like I will keep saying this, that we all experience life for each other. And
Yeah.
someone is gonna read your story and relate to your story in a way that I would not relate. Or
Mhm,
someone like just you sharing your story, I can relate because we've all experienced loss one way or
mhm,
another.
mhm.
And we've all
Yeah.
experienced grief one way or another, whether it's through a parent, a child, or however it is, how we experienced it. It's just the process of going through it and you sharing your story in that way. I could relate in a lot
Mm,
of the things. It might not be the same thing, but your story, I can grab from it and like, oh my God, I went through the same thing. I was angry with God for a while. Okay. So I could relate to that as well. So there's a lot that I actually love about 55 Faces. And I commend you women because that's a lot of work for 55 women.
yeah, yeah, talking to, and it's interesting because it's just like so I'm helping Michelle with the Africa book, which Nancy is also part of. Yay, yay, yay. Um, and you're meeting women from all across the continent, like all across the continent. And I'm just
Yeah.
like, oh, ooh. And there's a summit in the summertime in June.
Yes, next year,
So yeah,
2024.
yes. If you want to know more info, yeah, Nancy will definitely
Well,
give you
we'll
that
share.
information.
We'll share. We'll
Yeah,
share.
we'll share that info.
Yeah,
But
that's in
it's
Bali,
really
right?
amazing. It is in Bali. Yeah, it's happening
Who
in
does not want to
Bali.
go to
Who doesn't want
Bali?
to be in Bali? Come on now. Yeah,
No.
I missed it last year. I was part of the first cohorts of writers last year. But
Mm.
this year, I should be there. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I love the work that you guys are doing together. And
Thank you,
I
hon.
think a lot of women around the world, I mean, it's millions and millions of us, the stories that need to be told. It's endless.
It's endless.
Yeah.
Endless.
Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm excited to see how the book turns out, and some of the pages that people are posting, and I'm reading. I'm like, oh my God! I'm looking at my house. I'm like, I need to change. I need to change something.
Write your story, hon. Write your story.
I know. I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna just stick to my story. I stopped
Yeah.
reading. I'm like, I
Yeah.
need to write my own.
Your own. That's it. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
stopped reading after I read. I'm like, wow,
Yeah.
what a life.
Yeah.
But
Women have, they have lived. We have lived. We have lived, and we have a lot to say.
mm,
So I'm really excited for this journey and see where it's at. We're kind of halfway running, you know.
yeah.
We're halfway there. So
Oh,
let's keep
lovely.
going. Mhm.
Um, in your intro, I mean, I put as you put there as the aspiring social entrepreneur. What does that mean?
So I would say that my purpose,
Yes.
and this is something that recently solidified, is to help the youth.
Mm,
Or help, I don't know. Anyway, be there
assist.
for the youth, assist, yeah, the youth. And I've been in that circle in my past when I was like going to church and being that person. And I realized that through all of my experiences, through everything that I'm learning, if I if I had somebody like me when I was younger, I would have been really
Yeah.
happy, you know?
Mhm.
So I want to be that for other for those that are younger, those that are open to receive the services that I have. So basically it's like you're running a business,
Mhm.
and the funds that you get from the business goes back into
The community.
the community or the people that's in the business type of thing. Yeah. So a bit of like what 55 is doing.
Got it.
So the funds that goes into the first book is going towards the second book,
Yeah.
right? So
Mhm.
it's that's like a social enterprise type thing, and that's I realized that's my purpose. So everything else that I'm doing is to attain
That.
that purpose, and that's my social enterprise that I'll be putting out there in the world.
No, that's beautiful. When do you start?
It's still in the making. I don't
Okay.
even know if I should have said all of that, but yeah, it's still in the making.
Oh,
Where
this is good.
yeah,
So
yeah, it's
the
good.
next
Okay.
time it's like, oh
Yeah.
no,
So
we
now
launched.
I'm challenged to really do the work.
Yes, exactly.
No,
So
I'm
oh, we
challenged to really do
launched.
the work. I just put it out there. Yeah. Yeah. I didn't even think I was gonna say that, but yeah, I did.
What did I tell you? I mean, we prayed in the beginning. I said, let God guide us, whatever we're going to say. And hey, this is
Yeah.
the point.
This is
Uh,
it.
is there anything else you want to share, my dear, that I haven't asked you? I've put you through some, tough questions.
Wow. Is there anything else? There's nothing specifically that's coming to mind right now in this present moment. But, just like everything that I shared, especially the last part of not sinking, I
Mm-hmm.
think I would leave with that, you know.
Right.
Don't let life's obstacles, um, the challenges and the hurt,
Mm-hmm.
the grief, the pain,
Yeah.
don't let that sink you as a person. Don't let it take away your soul,
Mm.
your joy, your peace. Um, because it's life being life. And that's
Yeah.
one of the things I learned. It's this thing, or I call it an organism called
Yeah.
life. It it,
Yeah.
it does these type of events to us, and we gotta win. So don't say we
Yeah.
have to win. Yeah.
Yeah. Listen, I'm just humbled with how giving you were with your story, and it's such an honor to have you here. And I'm grateful for you to make time, even though it's been long in the making. You still made time. I know you're busy. You now have your beautiful baby,
Yes, yes, yes. I
and
got my rainbow little boy. Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
no,
So see, I said don't think. There
yes,
is a blessing sometimes. Well, no, it should be all the time.
all the
There's a
time.
blessing after a
Yeah.
lesson. Yeah.
No, there is a blessing, even though it's hard to see it when you are in the thick of it. It's very
Very
hard.
hard. Very hard.
And I want to encourage someone out there that there is a blessing in everything you go through. I'm testimonial. I can testify for you, honestly. Some of you have heard my story and you've heard our guest story as well. There is blessing in everything you go through, all the hardships. And I want to ask you the last question. Have you found your concrete pastures?
I think in the beginning, as I told you, I think I'm now stepping into finding my concrete pastures.
Hmm.
I'm entering into my 40th birthday soon. So I'm like, what the heck? How did that happen?
Oh.
Like, I'm so confused. How am I going to be 40? Like, what? When did I live?
I
I've
know.
been asking a lot of these questions, but I think that it took me a few years to get some stuff.
Hmm.
But I'm slowly
Yeah.
finding it.
Oh, like I said, this has been so good.
Yeah,
Thank
thank
you for
you.
inspiring us. Um, I appreciate you.
Thank you, Nancy. Thanks for having me. I had so much fun.
Well,
I love sharing. I love talking. So yeah.
you're an MC, for God's sakes. So,
I know, right? And like now I'm realizing like, okay, I'm more of a storyteller type of MC. So it's like sometimes people just want to like boogie and I'm just there trying to tell people stories. So I need to like figure that part out. I need to figure that part out.
yeah.
All right.